Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Steve Mills, and it's great to have you here on my live stream. I've been doing this now for probably about a month, doing 2 per week, one on Monday at 1 o'clock and one on Thursday at 1 o'clock. Really enjoy doing them. And it's all about my mission, which is to try and help as many business owners as I possibly can. And I've been doing that now for actually over 30 years, coming up to 31 years in May, I think it is. And I've worked with over 10,000 businesses and actually made them, believe it or not, and I know this sounds like a load of BS, but it is true, over £100 million worth of business. Not all of them, most of them a lot less than that. But added together, I've worked it out to be actually in excess of that. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is if you want a better business, you've got to become a better business owner. It's as simple as that. And do you know what? I found that. Let me just show you this book here. It's a great book that I'd fully recommend buying. It's called The Road Less Stupid, by a guy called Keith J. Cunningham, and it's just one of his like cliche sayings, I suppose, in here. But I took that on board and I thought to myself, do you know what? That is so true. If I want a better business, then I've got to become a better business owner. And if my clients want a better business, then they've got to do that too. So that was really why I developed this particular live stream, all about how to become a better business owner. Because if you think about it, you've got skills. I know you've got skills, and I know pretty much based on working with those 10,000 businesses that those skills are, generally speaking, within what I call the operational side of the business. That is doing the work, providing the service, selling the product. That is very typical of the skills of most business owners, certainly consultants, coaches, advisors, trainers, people in what I loosely call the helping industry, which is an area that I focus on. That is absolutely the case. And even if you're, I don't know, repairing cars, cutting hair, whatever it is you do, the chances are that you're skilled in doing that. And if you remain in business, you probably win because you're good at doing the work. You win an amount of business from referral, from word of mouth, from networking, and so on and so forth. But if you rely on that as purely your fundamental way that you market your business, then, you know, really you're missing out on all the other things that you could do. So let's just take a moment to discuss another expert that I've learned a lot from over the years, and that is a guy called Michael Gerber. Another book, actually, I'll just pull it off the shelf. I wasn't going to do that, but just bear with me a second. It's that book there. It's called The E-Myth Revisited, and it's about why small businesses don't work and what to do about it. So if you don't do anything else other than buy those 2 books, and you can get them on Amazon. You know, I'm not selling them to you. I'm not on commission here. I've no affiliate link for you. Just go to Amazon and buy those 2 books. You'll have definitely started in the process of becoming a better business owner. So why am I talking about the E-Myth? Well, in the E-Myth, one of the things that Gerber says is that in every business, there are 3 departments. They are finance, operations, doing the work, and marketing. So we've got basically managing the money, doing the stuff, and selling it. That's basically what we're talking about. We've got to be good at all those things. Now, if I asked you, how good are you at doing the work? You know, I'll use an example of a HR coach. If you're a HR coach stroke advisor, how good are you at it? The chances are you're saying, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being world class, 1 being absolutely awful, I don't know what I'm talking about, and 5 being an average business owner, I'd say you're probably saying you're like probably about an 8, something like that. I'm sure there's things that you don't know, like there is with all of us, but you're probably about an 8. You know, you've been doing this for quite some time now, and before that you probably worked in HR for 10 or 20 years. Now you're out there on your own running an HR business, and that's good, and that'll get you repeat business, and it might get you some referrals. However, your problem, or one of your problems, is that you're not very good at managing the money, the financial side of it. You know, talking to my accountancy friends, apparently most business owners spend less than 4 minutes looking at their end of year accounts that they get from their accountant. And also the problem with that is that it's like another accountancy friend of mine called Stuart Newbury from Positive Practice says it's like driving a car using a rear view mirror. And I really like that analogy. You know, if you're driving your car forward, or in this case, driving your business forward, using a rear view mirror, looking at how well you did last year or 18 months ago, you know, you've got problems there. You know, you should be looking forward, and you should also be looking at that instrument panel in front, telling you in live time how fast you're going, where exactly you are, what you need to do right now, you know, because you're doing 60 mile an hour and you come into a 30 mile an hour zone, you need to slow down a bit. So from a business analogy, you've been cranking on, pushing forward. Now might be a time to consolidate, or it might be a time to push forward. And because nobody else is, by the way. But, you know, either way, that is really important. What's also important, and again, a good analogy for a car journey, is where do you want to get to? You know, if I set off from where I am right now and I want to go to Birmingham, all roads lead there, and unless I know that I want to go to Birmingham, I could set off in any direction without a clue where I was going, because I don't have a plan in place, and I need a plan and possibly a sat nav to help me along the way. And yeah, so I think that's an important one. So that said, sorry, one more thing to say, and then the third section is obviously the marketing side. Nearly forgot marketing. Can you believe that? The marketing side. You know, where would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? A, under the operations, B, under finance, and C, in terms of marketing. You know, how good's your marketing knowledge? Because whatever it is producing a result for you. You know, your current level of knowledge of LinkedIn, for example, is creating an amount of business. Actually, it's not quite true. It's not just your knowledge, but it's also the action that you take, isn't it? You can know a lot and do nothing and gain no results. But, you know, if you do a load of stuff that you don't know is the right stuff, there's nothing worse than putting a load of effort into something that is wrong. Yeah. And also, I'd say there's nothing worse. I mean, I think the definition of insanity is doing the same thing. I think it was Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and again and expecting a different result. You know, we'll get the same result if we do the same thing. So if what you're doing in terms of marketing is working great right now, then good for you. You know, that's fantastic. If it's not, then you got to do something. You got to do something different, in my opinion, if you want a different result than the one that you're getting. So if that makes sense to you, you know, start and think about what you need to do to improve your level of knowledge in terms of the financial side of your business and also the marketing side. I used an example of LinkedIn, but that obviously applies to your website, to your email, to your paid ads. I worked with a client a little while ago who was spending £1,000 a month on advertising on Google. He wasn't getting any business. He was getting, well, that's not quite true. It was just about wiping its face. You know, he was making about, you know, you got a couple of leads and made about £1,000. I think sometimes it spilled over to 2,000, which is, you know, arguably not too bad. Over a period of time, I helped him build his marketing budget up to £30,000 a month. Now he's spending £30,000 a month. Why was he doing that? Because he was getting a 12 times return on investment, which I think was £360,000 a month, right? So why wouldn't he spend 30,000? I actually said to him one day, he said, "What do you think we should do now?" I said, "Well, if I was you, I'd spend 60,000. He said, "Why wouldn't I? You know, potentially that could get somewhere around, well, let's say over £600,000 worth of business." But anyway, you know, that's just a fact. I got a few things to talk to you about that I wrote down that I didn't want to get wrong. So just forgive me while I look down. I love this saying, which is from the book, by the way. How much money would you have now in your bank if you could unwind the 3 dumbest financial things you've ever done? When I answered that question, it was a nightmare. It was a lot. Yeah, we're talking more than 6 figures, more than £1 million worth of money that I've lost just with my 3 biggest financial mistakes that I've ever made. What's yours? It's an interesting question, and one that you will probably have sleepless nights because you answer. But do you know what? Questions are really, really important. In fact, just bear with me again. Just look at this. On the back of his book, this is The Road Less Stupid. On the back of his book, he talks about the importance of thinking time. Thinking time's really important. How do we think? We think in questions. If you answered that yes or no, it's because you thought, is that true? And you said yes, or you said no, but you still thought about a question. So if we're going to do that, then what we need to do really is to think about better questions. What are the really good questions that you could ask yourself right now? I'm talking about questions like, what do I need to improve? Or what do I need to do, have, or buy to improve my marketing? That's a really good question. Another question could be, what should I be doing today? Sorry, I forgot to turn my phone off. That's not very good, is it? But let's do it now. There we go. What should I do today? What is the one thing I could do today to grow my business? That's another really powerful question. Or what would I need to do to get an extra, it's almost like fill in the gap, I'm going to say an extra £10,000 into my business by the end of next month. Right, so to have grown my business by 10 grand within a month, what would I need to do in order to do that? So these are really powerful questions, but 99% of all business owners that I speak to never sit down and take thinking time. They don't have thinking time. They say, "Oh, I'm too busy. I ain't got time to think, Steve. Come on, I've gone making it, shipping it, selling it, making it, shipping it, selling it, doing it, really, really busy, and I don't have time to work on my business." Now, my question to you is, how is that working out so far? Because if you're on this, you know, talk here today with me, then I'm assuming you want to do better. You know, title of the talk, if you want a better business, become a better business owner. So you're interested in becoming a better business owner. So, you know, that's good. Well done. Congratulations. You know, and, you know, you have to also appreciate, you know, that financial question I asked you, if you could undo the top three. That's not because I'm stupid. It's not because I'm financially illiterate. It's because I made mistakes, like, intelligent people who try hard and mean to do well do. I've made more mistakes. I will tell you now, I've made more mistakes in marketing than probably anybody listening to this. That's because I've done more. I've taken more action. I've found out what works, and I've also found out what doesn't work. And that's the only way of learning, I think. What I've not done is wasted a lot of money, time, and effort on things that don't work, because I'm meticulous in terms of organizing my resources and measuring my results. My company is Results Mastery, and that starts with understanding your current results. How can you master your results if you don't know what they are? Because you don't know what to change. So if you want to become a better business owner, you need to know what your key KPIs are, your key performance indicators. So a marketing KPI could be the number of people who come to your website, the number of LinkedIn contacts you've got, the number of inquiries that you got this month. Financial KPIs could be your turnover, your profit, money in your bank, your debtors, and so on and so forth. Your operational KPIs could be the time it takes to fulfill a contract or an order. It could be your return on investment per person. Let's say, for example, you employ 10 people and you turn over £1 million. You can easily work out that each person on average is generating £100,000 for you. It's numbers like that are the real key to successful business. Understanding the numbers is really important, as is knowing not what numbers you want to try to achieve. So, again, if you don't do anything other than, from today, make sure, we're coming up to the end of the year now. 2026 is on the horizon, and let's make sure that you are measuring your sales and marketing results. Because if you're not, you might not get the rewards that you want. And make sure that you have set goals, set things that you want to achieve. You turn over 200 grand, you want to get to 300 grand. Okay, that's your goal. And then you can start to work out by the end of January whether you're heading in the right direction, or you're flatlining, or even going down. Okay, so we don't have to get to the end of the year to realize actually we've not achieved what we set out to achieve, or that we have. So, those things are really important. Let me give you an example of a time in my career when I really started to understand the fact that business owners don't, generally speaking, work hard enough on themselves. Okay, so I'm invited to attend a national conference, and it's at Birmingham at the NEC, and there's 2,000 people in the audience, and I'm one of several speakers. This is going on all day, and I think I spoke for about 45 minutes, something like that. When I first got on the stage, I said to people, can I just have a show of hands? How many people are responsible for sales, for selling stuff in their business? And I literally had 2,000 hands go into the air. I said, okay, fantastic. Next question is, can you tell me, can you put your hands up if you've done any form of sales training in the last 12 months? And you know what? I got about 50 hands. 95% of people who were salespeople had done no training at all. What was interesting was I then asked, hands up, who hit target last year? And not quite. It was difficult to see everybody, but I would suggest that 80% of the people who put their hand up had hit target. And that again is a really good lesson, isn't it? We should constantly be training. I train myself daily, not once every quarter, every day. It's not long. I do 7 o'clock till 7:30. Every day is sales and or marketing training. Every day. So, that is definitely something to think about. We all know that if you want a better business, you must become a better business owner. But my question is to you is, what do you need to become better at? Because that's another good question, isn't it, to think about? If I asked you to write down 3 things that would have massive impact on your business, that if you trained yourself to become better at, what would they be? I'll tell you what they should be. Number 1 should be AI. You, me, and every business owner should become better at knowing and understanding AI. Why? That's another good question. Because it's going to save you money, make you money, improve your efficiency, and it's going to, without it, you're just going to get left behind. Now, I know there's people out there going to be saying, oh, well, this AI thing, it's dangerous, it's bad, and, so on and so forth. But I had a meeting this morning, and that was actually brought up, and I said, look, you're right. In a way, you're right. And what I mean by that is it can be used for bad things. There's no doubt about it, and we're going to have to make sure we manage it correctly. When I say we, I mean the human race. But as long as I'm using it for good stuff, I'm using it to help people, to benefit people, benefit myself, then what's wrong with that? Nothing. It's a fantastic resource. So that's one thing you should be working on. I suppose number 2 and 3, I could say your finance and your marketing, but there might be things within that which I don't know about. Could be your website, could be your Google ads, whatever it is for you. But what we need to do is constantly be working on improving things. So 2 actions just to finish off. Firstly, thinking time. Allow yourself some thinking time. And within that, I'd say allow yourself some training time. And then the next thing is just to take more action. If you want to grow your business, become a better business owner, but don't let knowledge lead to inactivity. Let knowledge lead to action. Tony Robbins says knowledge is a waste of time. The application of knowledge is everything. And Tony runs a consultancy business, if you don't know of him, that turns over, I believe, 8 billion a year. So he's a little bit more than me, shall we say. Yes, I say that very tongue-in-cheek, by the way. But that's about it. Thank you very much for listening. I hope it's been of value to you. I will just say, if I can help you further, I'd love to do so. I've been doing this a long time. I know what I'm doing. I almost guarantee I can help you. In fact, I do guarantee I can help you. I know I can. My services start at a ridiculous amount of money in terms of low. You can join my Kickstart program for £10 a month. You can sign up to my AI advisor, which is an AI advisor within it's got my knowledge in it. I've uploaded everything and I've built my own AI. You can go and sign up for that. That's the extortionate amount of £10 a month as well. Or perhaps you could join my results mastermind group and become, if you really want to take this seriously, and I can work with you every week, helping you, advising you, training you, and you also gain benefit from other members of the mastermind group and learning from them as well. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to speaking to you on my next live stream. And oh, by the way, if you want to find out about any of those services, you'll see on the wall behind me is my website, or in the bottom corner, it's results-mastery.com. Thanks very much for listening.